Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called Perfect Small City for American Expats to Live in Europe, Dijon, France, 2000 budget. So I'm guessing it's like $2,000 budget, not maybe euros, but I don't know. So I'm guessing Dijon is like Dijon, like the mustard. And now come to think about it, I don't know if it's called, obviously imagine Dijon, it's called like that. Well, the mustard is probably called like that because they make it like in this region specifically, like Champagne. But I don't know if it's maybe a brand. I know it's a type of mustard. I have no idea why it's called Dijon actually, but it's gonna be very excited, I think. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
Welcome to Dijon, France. We've been here for a month and it may be our new favorite place. Today, we're exploring why this location may be the perfect place for American expats who want to live in France on a budget.
Dijon is located about 90 minutes from Paris by high-speed train in the Burgundy region. It's a small city with a population of about 164,000 people.
Small.
We are starting our day in Darcy Garden or Jardin Darcy. We're going to take you on the famous Owl Walk, which starts right here at that square right behind me, also known in French, of course, as the Rue de la Chouette. And we're going to share the factors that make the city so livable.
One of my favorite things about Dijon is the walkability. The sidewalks are really wide and flat. We have walked all over the city and found it very easy to get around. The public transportation is also nice. They have this nice pedestrian area down here in the center of town, and there's a little free electric bus that runs right through the middle. You can hop on, hop off of that, which is nice. They also have a bus system here in town, but you don't want to do that. They have this awesome tram. You can hear dinging in the background. And here it comes right on cue. We actually took an Uber out to the mall that's kind of on the outskirts of town.
What would you use Uber if you have this incredible
It costs 20 euros just to go from the center of town here out into the burbs where the mall is located. But the tram goes right there. This tram right here behind me that you can see goes right there to that mall, and it was only a €1.40 to come back each ticket. So it was.
I have to say, like, when you have, like, when cities have, like, so amazing, like, public transport options, not even just walkability, because maybe you want to get there faster, why would you even use a car? Why would you use, even not just taxi, an Uber, or even your own car? You can just, like, go there by train, you get there faster, and it's cheaper. So, like, why would you ever, like, use your car?
€2.80 for the two of us to come all the way back into the center of town. The high-speed train station is also pretty close to here. You could actually walk here. It's maybe 10 or 15-minute walk, and that will take you all over France. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the day trips that you can take from Dijon. Find the L marker?
I did. Let's follow it.
All right, it goes through that arch right there.
Is it like a replica of the arch?
Just like you like.
Yes, that looks very relaxing.
It is, absolutely.
It's a lot quieter on the street. I'm liking it.
What was that?
Iron Man is for sale.
Ooh, can we have him?
I don't think it'll fit in the suitcase.
Oh, the actual guy, superhero?
Yeah, we lost the L markers again. They're a little elusive.
They are, especially when there's a lot of people around. And also so much to look at, so I'm looking up and not down. Dijon is a food and wine lover's paradise, and of course it is famous for its mustard.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon? But of course.
Grey Poupon. It even has wine.
The city is internationally known for its wine and its cuisine. There are several Michelin star restaurants here that are a little bit out of our budget. So if you can't afford it like we can, there's a nice variety of other types of restaurants here as well, including several Indian restaurants, which really enjoyed.
That looks very good. I wonder if Dijon is like the mustard, it's prepared in a specific way and that's why it's called like that, or if it's an actual specific plant that only grows in Dijon and that's why it's called like that. Hopefully they'll explain it. Others, I really want to know.
Need me to give you a boost?
I can reach it. His legend is you are supposed to rub the owl for good luck. So
what's up with the
rub the owl too, the Chouette.
All right, here we go.
Why do they love the owl?
Jack, that's not rubbing.
It was only the belly. Yeah, like it's not just the actual thing.
He's a nice owl. The historic center here in Dijon is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it is easy to see why.
How old is
the
it?
architecture is just stunning. There's a lot of buildings from the medieval period, including Notre Dame. It's a famous Gothic cathedral right here in the heart of town.
Yeah, it's been really
the
fun
arches.
taking the owl walk and seeing all the different
with the
historical
owl?
monuments and just learning more about the area and enjoying the stunning architecture.
bricks.
And if you like museums, there are a lot of museums around here too, and most of them are free.
The owl walk that we're doing right now actually walks you right by a lot of the
this looks like
historical
a
landmarks in the
museum
city center
dedicated
here.
to
You can buy a
history.
map for €4, which we kind of wish we had done because we've lost the owl markers several times, but we're really enjoying our walk so far.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon?
But of course.
Oh, thank you.
We have a little like German
Amelia, we reached that fork in the
inspired
road.
architecture.
I see that, but I think we want to go this way. The main owl trail takes an hour long, 22 stops, and then I read that there's 2 different offshoots. I'm assuming this is letter A. That's one of the offshoots.
I love doing a walk like that. And you can
One
just sort of, like,
challenge you
come to
might have as
checkpoints.
an American living here is the language barrier. It is real. It's a smaller
No one
city
speaks
in the
English.
central part of France, and you're not going to find nearly as many English speakers as you do in the larger cities like
I'm
Paris
surprised
and
by that.
Lyon. However, we have found a lot of English speakers in the restaurants and service businesses, the shops. We bought a new hat, and the lady in there spoke enough English for us to get by and with our bad French.
It's okay. We'll meet at the middle.
A really nice little hair place, and we had a language exchange there. Her stylist spoke pretty good English, and she helped us with our French while we were there. So it was a really fun experience.
Success. I absolutely love my hair. It turns out the person who was doing my hair did speak some English, and she
Good.
helped me with my French. It was such a fun and amazing experience. Highly recommend coming to Pop Hair if you guys are Pop Art Hair.
Pop hair.
It's pop hair. Pop hair.
Pop hair.
Pop,
Pop
hair.
Hair.
If you need to get your hair
Pop
done. They
Hair.
are wonderful people, and they made us feel so welcome.
If you're going to
nice.
come here, you want to start studying French right away so you're prepared to read, especially those signs that are not in English, only in French.
I'm surprised
This
if it's
is one of
such a
the
touristy
famous
town,
art
doesn't have
museums
English
of
things.
France, and it has artists such as Monet and Picasso, and of course a wide variety of others, which I
Beautiful
really want to go see. However, they
beautiful
are
painting.
closed on Tuesday, so JP, we will be going back.
Is it a French
We
thing?
are
They
really
always go for
impressed by how
Tuesdays.
clean it is here. That's an important livability factor. You want clean sidewalks, clean streets, and clean air. It's
Absolutely.
got all 3 in abundance. And we came here expecting France to be kind of dirty based on what we've seen online and the stereotypes of France, but we have not experienced that at all.
Hold on. Do French have this stereotype of being like the cities are dirty? This is the first time I'm hearing about this. I think the cliche is that Paris has a lot of rats, but also like New York also has a lot of rats. I think it's a particular of like pretty big cities, they get a lot of rats. But I'm not expecting, like, I don't know, is it just me? Maybe it's something that's pretty popular and I'm just like never heard of that before.
In Paris or here in Dijon, you can see throughout this video how clean everything is. There are people
This is
out
gorgeous.
cleaning the streets all the time, and because it is a smaller city and most of the vehicles and buses are electric and the tram is electric, there's not a lot
don't
of
have
air
smog, yeah.
pollution, and it's also even quieter because of all those electric engines.
Oh, it's super quiet, yes. I can imagine that.
What is that?
It's a
that a
wishing
whale?
well now. I'm guessing it was a functional well based on the pulley system
Yeah,
that they
back
have
in-
rigged up.
Wow.
400 years
They
ago.
probably use that to reel the bucket with water up from
Insane.
the depths. I can't even see how far down this goes.
This is very
Well, it's a
scary.
good thing it's
Imagine
green
falling down there.
He falls in.
Yeah, it's a good
When
idea.
you're looking over like you are trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Her mind went exactly the same as mine.
If you want to have a high quality of life, one of the most important things is to have a lot of things to do to keep you busy. And you're going to find a lot of activities and shopping opportunities here in Dijon. We're in Parc de la, where's it? Amelia, Parc de la Libération here in the center of town. And there's a lot of cafes that line this with some nice fountains out here. And we've come down here several times just to sit and enjoy the people watching
It's
and
real pretty.
the birds and have a glass of wine. This is a nice
We'd like
place
a little
to just
bit more
come hang
shade,
out.
but this
There
is
are
pretty.
also a lot of parks around the area, so you can
It's
go
gorgeous.
hiking and cycling.
Love it.
There's even a big park where you can go boating and go for a swim at the swim beach. But if shopping is your thing, which I like to do some shopping, there is plenty of that here for you as well. There's a whole pedestrian area with some chain and some local boutique stores.
They have
There's not as much shopping as there is going to be in Paris, of course.
Obviously.
But there is a mall that's not too far away from here that has some of the major brands. However, if you're looking for some specialty items, you may be happy to hear that you can actually order from Amazon like we had to do because we lost something pretty critical. Was that it?
Yeah, since it's got your name on it.
Well, that's good. That's a good
delivery in Europe.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
What is it, a bee?
All right.
Get out of here, bee.
Well,
don't kill it.
Yeah, try the windshield. The thing that we lost. Is it the same size? It looks small. Oh, I hope this thing works.
It works.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, for the mic?
Oh my gosh. Another Indian restaurant.
No, but they're closed again from 2 to 7, right there, 2 to 7 p.m.
Well, I guess they gotta prepare all the curries for the evening meals.
Okay, what do you do if you want to have like a midday, I don't know, meal? That's so weird to me. They're closed most of the afternoon.
Benefit to living in Dijon is the train system, which will take you to so many places. You can take a lot of really nice day trips. You can go back to Paris, which only takes 90 minutes on that high-speed rail. There's a train that will take you all the way to Strasbourg. You can go to Lyon, and those you can get there in under 2 hours. Or you can do what we're going to do and take the train to Beaune.
Are you ready to go to Beaune?
I'm very excited, yes.
Is that another city?
No, we're not pronouncing it in the true French way, which I have not figured out how to do yet.
Beaune. Beaune.
That was good, JP.
If you want to live in a place, then healthcare is probably at the top of your list, and you're lucky if you want to come to France because it's known for having great healthcare. It has both a public and a private system. They're extremely affordable. The public system is free once you're qualified to go on it, and you can do that as a resident. And here in Dijon, they have lots of hospitals and clinics to choose from, and the cost of appointments for the private system is super affordable. You're not even going to have to worry about how much it costs.
Pardon
Not
me.
the mustard.
Would you have any Grey Poupon? But of course.
Yeah, I love it. There are as obsessed
One of
with
life's finer
mustard, with
pleasures.
Dijon mustard.
One of the reasons we
I
chose
am.
Dijon is because the housing is so much more affordable. Our Airbnb we're staying in now is almost half of what we were paying in Paris. Their prices are more
that's a
similar to
lot.
Montenegro. Although our place is smaller, it's still not as cheap as Albania, but it is affordable. For the
How much is
long-term
it?
rentals, the average cost is about $1.50 to $2 a square foot, which comes out to be $500 to $1,000 a month. And it really depends on
Okay,
where you're looking
cheap.
and if you want furnished or unfurnished. We saw condos for sale from 80,000 euros to 120,000 euros, which is also
Those are
extremely
cheap.
affordable.
Yeah, that's very cheap. Okay, yeah. I mean, cheap is the right
full
term.
circle.
Affordable.
We are back where we started, and there is our last owl.
How do you know you're done? This is like,
We're
hey,
back home
congratulations, you're
after
done.
a long walk around the Owl Loop in Dijon. And we're going to wrap up by talking about cost of living, something that everybody cares about.
The nice thing is that you've got the reduced housing costs, and you've got the fact that you don't need to have a car here because you can take advantage of the awesome public
lowers the
transportation, which is also going to lower your cost of living.
By
If
a
you
lot.
like to eat out a lot, that is more expensive here. We found that we were spending anywhere from like $12 to $18 per dish when we go out to eat. If you go outside the tourist areas, it is a bit more affordable, but dining out is still pretty expensive here.
Who knows these
Grocery
days?
shopping is affordable, and
Okay.
we actually ended up cooking a lot of our own meals because we could also find a really nice variety. There are several grocery stores here. There's a couple different organic and specialty markets here, so we found all sorts of stuff that we just
Yeah, but if you're a
love.
tourist, of course
And
you want to go
there's
to the,
also,
like, the
of course,
restaurants.
The main mercado is not mercado in French. I don't know what the word is, but you can go to
Exactly.
that covered
Yeah.
indoor market. However, we thought the prices were a little bit higher in there compared to the vendors that go and set up around the outside.
Sometimes,
you
yeah,
could
sometimes
definitely
that
save a little
happens.
bit more money by shopping there.
Yeah,
The main
this is
grocery
local.
stores are Carrefour and Casino. Are there any others
never heard
I'm
of that
forgetting
one.
about?
Grand Prix.
Franprix is here as well.
Never heard of that
Those
one
are the
either.
ones you're going to want to search for on your Google Maps to find the grocery stores. They're pretty nice. The ones in town here are smaller, but
Not
the
like
Carrefour that was out in the mall was the biggest grocery store we've seen in a really long time. It was more like a super Walmart or a super Target
Yeah,
back
Carrefour
in the
is.
US.
Are
Yeah,
they
that
French
store
actually?
was massive, and I was really surprised to see that. So if you wanted to stock up, you could just take the tram out there and take it back. That would be perfect.
I think overall, a single person could live here here on $1,500 to $2,000 a month pretty comfortably. If you get a small place for around that $500 a month mark, maybe even $700, I think that you could live here really comfortably on $2,000 a month as a single, maybe $3,500 a month as a couple.
I agree. It's definitely a lot more affordable.
What does it feel?
As long as you don't
food?
go crazy with the eating out, and a lot of the other activities here are free, so you still have stuff to do. There are a couple downsides of living in Dijon that aren't really related to cost of living, though, and one of them is the fact that there are not a lot of expats here. So if you're looking to join a community and plug in with other English-speaking expats, you may find that to be a bit of a challenge. We did meet a couple, but not nearly as many as we thought.
Most of them seem to be tourists, the foreign English speakers that we see here.
So you definitely are going to want to learn French to settle in and get some friends going.
Absolutely. To me, that's
Another
a must.
downside that we're kind of surprised about is how cloudy it is here. And we were reading online some of the blogs saying it's very cloudy in the spring and the fall. We're here in late spring, and it's still in the 60s at most days here. We were kind of expecting it to be a bit warmer than that, and we hadn't seen the sun in like 9 days. So this is the first day that we've had blue skies, so we hurried up and got out and filmed today because we're afraid we might not have it again before we leave.
Yeah, and everybody else was out there too.
Yeah,
after 2
it
weeks,
hasn't been nearly as crowded, but I think everybody was out chasing the sun today.
Yeah, and of course you're in France, and you're going to get more tourism here, but it's not as heavily touristed as Paris and some of the other major places.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for an affordable place to live and you're set on moving to France, and why not? This country is amazing. Option. We are so impressed with it. We both think that Dijon is a really good option for you.
Yeah, we felt so at home here that we kind of really got into a routine and realized we actually needed to start working on our next trip. Yeah. And we needed to get this video done.
Yeah, the time got away.
And they're like, we live here now.
Yeah, it is extremely comfortable here.
We have to leave eventually.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our tour of Dijon. We'll see you on our next video.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
It's fun. Again, love the sun, but I don't know, like, to me, like, obviously it's very pretty, but I'm like, I want a little bit more shade. Although they're like, it's raining a lot, so okay, maybe not really. But I'm saying that, like, how come like some places with shade, or maybe a couple of trees that actually provide a little bit of shade, that would be good. But that's just me. I want to know more about the Owl Road actually. It looked like a very fun trip, but the owl situation, I was expecting for them to like explain to me what's up with the owl, because I'm thinking if I'm from Dijon and I'm from there, I wanna maybe take advantage of like obviously the mustard, and I would exploit the mustard situation. I would be like, the owls, okay, maybe the owls, but I don't know why. I would exploit that to the highest level. I would do like a museum about mustard. I don't know. I would visit the factories. I'm guessing again. I want to know more about the Dijon. What's up with the Dijon in mustard? The Dijon mustard that comes from here. Do they have factories? Is just one factory? Or maybe I can't because it's called like that. Maybe it's just because they grow the plant, the Dijon mustard plant there, but it's not processed there. I didn't really saw any factories. Everything looked like very, I don't know, like a beautiful town, like an old-timey town. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking maybe the mustard is just like they I don't really know how they do mustard, so maybe they still do it like the old-fashioned way. Maybe that's why there is no factory. Like there are no factories here. I don't know, because they did mention that it was like very like free, like there was not a lot of pollution. There was like a pollution-free zone. So again, it's like I want to know more about the mustard situation and how come they're not exploiting this. I think maybe they have a different mentality, but I think a lot of tourists will want to go there because of the mustard. And also, again, I'm guessing like a lot of shops also sell different kinds of mustard. Oh, Dijon mustard, because obviously it's what we're known for. So I'm surprised that they don't have like a giant sculpture of like the from like a Dijon mustard seed, or even if there's like a one specific like very famous Dijon mustard brand that in France, they don't really have any sculpture there. So I'm surprised by the lack of it, of mustard in Dijon. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So I want to know more about the owl, because it's like, so what's up with the owl, and how come there's like this owl road of like different checkpoints that you can get. They were like, oh, we want to get them up. It's like, absolutely, if I'm ever there, I'll definitely get my map, because I want to visit and I want to do the owl road. But it is funny that they don't really have, well, maybe they didn't really take it. But I'm wondering if they have actual like a tour that actually gives you the tour of the Owl Road, because it looks like a very fun time, and I would absolutely sign up for that because it looks like, yes, I want to go. And you'd probably like take a picture like in each step of the way, and then like when you're done, it's like you have 22 pictures in like 22 different checkpoints, and maybe have a drink at like each point. Maybe not, because it's like 22. So maybe not. Maybe just a picture. But I think I would love it if there were any tours, or maybe they are, but they didn't really mention it. But I think it would be very cool. The whole like cheap, like again, it's not cheap. I think again, I mentioned it. It's like it's not cheap. I think it's cheaper than maybe I was expecting. But it's really that it's affordable. It's not outright like, oh, it's so cheap. But it's just the idea of it being quite affordable. Like for 2,000, they say like even a person, like if you're single, you can definitely live very comfortably for around like, I think they said like 1700,000. Like, that's 1700, which I think it's a good, because it's like, wow, I think that's good actually. Again, I'm guessing the cost of living, obviously they mentioned that like it's lower than in Paris, because again it's a smaller town, so obviously it makes sense. Usually in countries, I don't think it's not just France, all countries, the further away you go from the capital, obviously the cheaper things are. Housing, food, transport, like everything is just cheaper, the more rural you get. And even if it didn't really look that rural, but if it's still like a little bit far from the capital, and even this is not that far, but again, you're half an hour away, it's 90 minutes. So if you're 90 minutes away, again, it's something that, it's not that, it's around, you're not going to do it every day probably, but, or maybe there are some wild people that it's not that crazy to spend, like, again, probably for Europeans, actually it is kind of crazy, but I think for Americans are maybe a little bit more used to of like, hey, can you imagine like a 90-minute commute? Well, can I do it? Yes. Will I be willing to do it? Well, that's another story, but I don't think that's way out of like left field to say like it's a 90-minute commute from my house to like where I work. Probably a lot of Europeans would be like, oh my god, that's way too much, like that's an insane amount of time. But, so maybe a lot of people don't actually do the thing of like working in Paris and living here because it's like so far away. But I think maybe, again, you can get like the high speed on like one of those high speed trains, and, it's maybe possible. I think that would be like, I don't know how many people will actually do it, but I think it's an interesting, it's an interesting concept that I think some people may or may not. Maybe you can consider it. Again, I don't know, but I think it would be maybe a good idea for some people. And because again, it's gonna be cheaper, and I'm guessing like in Paris you probably earn more, and in Dijon, because the cost of living is a little bit cheaper, then of course you'll be able to save a lot of money, because I'm guessing living in Paris is not cheap. Again, that's just I don't really know how much it costs to live in Paris, but I think Paris, I have it in my head that it's quite an expensive city, but maybe it's just, for tourists, or I don't know, maybe it's just like, I'm totally off. It's like, no, it's not that expensive. I don't know. But, obviously it's going to be cheaper, the further away you go from Paris, because Paris is going to be like, yes, things are going to be a little cheaper. It's going to be, in Paris, going to be a little bit more expensive. But of course the downside, like they said, is like, even if you're not in the middle of it, like, so you're going to have a lot of things to do, which is good. But you're not going to have that many stuff to do as in like bigger cities. So, you're constantly obviously sacrificing a little bit, or maybe not sacrificing, because if you're one of those people that I actually like the peace and quiet, maybe if you like the peace and quiet, you're like, I like to get away from like the bustle of like Paris, where everything, I'm guessing, is like everything's very like a high speed life, and you're constantly like, there's it never, again, it's like the city that never sleeps, and it's like, oh, New York, no, but Paris, I think it's also like that, in the sense of like, there's a lot of people, there's constant movement, there's constant noise, like there's a lot of like bustling around, and maybe you actually prefer the peace and quiet, so you're like, no, I actually like living here because it's not that far away, like I'm not in this place in the middle of nowhere. I'm in this town that actually gets some things to do, and if I ever want to go to Paris, like for the weekend or for a special event, I'm still like, I can just take the train. So I think to me it sounds like a perfect place to live. I think it sounds like great, because yes, you're kind of like far, but not that far. So it is kind of perfect in that way. And yeah, so I would love it. I think, again, I want to know more about the mustard. I will say also, one of those things that they were like, it's quite expensive, is the eating out. I don't know if it's just Paris. Well, in most countries, eating out, it's a little bit more expensive. But I would say maybe they see it differently, because if you're in a budget, obviously you're thinking of like, I have a tight budget or a very specific budget, then I can maybe, say I have to like save some money on here, and maybe I can splurge on others. If you're in France, again, maybe not if you're gonna move there, but if as a tourist, I would definitely splurge when it comes to food, because you're in France. So it is like, it's such a shame to actually like go there and do not try like all that incredible food. It's like, oh no, again, if you have a really tight budget, it's like, I would love it, but I physically like I cannot spend more money, which obviously valid, of course, it's a sad situation. But if you can actually like afford it, like I can maybe like, move around my budget a little bit, I would definitely like splurge on the food, because everything looked incredible. They were even saying like, they have even like 5-star restaurants here. It's like, yes, of course, in France, like it's France. I want to try all the food. And they were like, yeah, it's getting a little bit out of hand. It's like, we have to stop eating out. We have to cook more at home. But obviously, if you're standing here in a place like long term, or you're thinking about moving to a place and actually living there, of course you have to make some adjustments and be like, no, we have to actually cook at home, because it's cheaper and it's probably like healthier and stuff. But it's like, yeah, if you're a tourist, absolutely go wild. Yes, spend more money in food. It's France, like, so if you can afford it, absolutely go there. Why would I go to France and not splurge on food? I think that's just like my idea. But yes, this was an incredible video. That was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.